State Senator Joel Anderson. What a treat. Twice in 2 days, sir.
It is a treat for me.
Let's get right to the latest criminal activity that has been happening just these last few days.
Well, some of your listeners may not know the history, but earlier this year we've had 3 senators, one found guilty of 8 felonies, 2 more indicted by a grand jury, one of 22 counts, felony counts, the other of 24 felony counts. They range from hiring an FBI agent as quid pro quo to trying to sell the FBI shoulder-mounted missiles. And the craziness is I attempted to expel the Senator Wright, who was found guilty of 8 felonies. My motion was tabled. They chose to ignore it. Then the other 2 senators came down the pike with these indictments. We started getting national press because when you have a senator who's actually moving automatic weapons and missiles, that evidently is a national issue and people really focused in. So the Democrats reacted, the leadership reacted by passing all sorts of crazy laws, not one addressing any of these issues. And mind you, by tabling my motion, they cut off any honest and open debate of whether these members should be expelled or not expelled. Later, they gave them a paid leave of absence. And then after that, after Yee came to light nationally, they suspended these members from the legislature with pay. So I don't know about how it works in the city of San Diego, but in my district, if you're sent home and told you're not allowed to work and we're going to pay you, we don't call that a punishment. We call it a vacation.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I have to check back at my contract here at KFMB. I don't know if it specifically says anything about what happens if I try to smuggle shoulder-fired rocket launchers to the Chinese mob. I think I'm not sure. Well, it's good to know that Leland Yee can still get paid while he's being investigated on that.
My point in the whole thing is, look, if you come into my office and you say, I want to buy illegal weapons, and I say, do you want semi-automatic or automatic? I think I've already made a mistake. I've gone down the wrong path, right? It's time to go home. So amidst all this, they rolled out all these bills, and one of them was SR 44 by De Leon. And what it says is in August, we're not allowed to raise any money, or solicit money, or accept money from lobbyist employers. Well, it's very difficult because you have 24 hours to report this money if it's $1,000 or more. And if you get multiple checks, maybe 100, 200 checks, you have to look everybody up. And if the website, and by the way, the website went down for 4 hours over the weekend, if you're going through this, none of this addresses members who have committed felonies.
Yeah,
this is apples and oranges.
Yeah, it's a non sequitur. It's nothing to do with what happened.
But what over the weekend became so important is the very author of the bill violated his own law. And that is, when he presented the bill, I was one of the lone votes against it. I threw my mic up and said it was a convoluted law and that you should vote for this if you know that you plan on being a crook. But you should vote against it if you're an honest man. And by the way, if you vote for it, you should probably resign because it automatically assumes that everybody is guilty and that if you take money from lobbyist employers, that you can be bought. Yet the Assembly doesn't do it. We've never done it before. It in no way would have stopped those 3 members from selling illegal weapons or taking graft.
No.
So this idea is just a bait and switch because they wanted to take the heat off the real issue. And the funny part, Mike, is many of my constituents, I didn't even think about this, but in the midst of all this fighting, where I was battling the leader, the Senate leadership, I had a couple constituents come up to me and said, we get it. They all think they're going to be next. And I never once it dawned on me that could be the case. But, they're not. The FBI is not done with us. There's plenty more investigations to be had. The bottom line is, I believe that if you report this within 24 hours on the web, people can make their own decisions. They're not stupid. And having these artificial things, the convoluted laws that make honest people look guilty when they're doing their best to be honest is just wrong.
That he himself violated. So what did he do? What did De Leon do?
Well, he accepted these checks, $25,000 worth of these checks
in August.
During
August
the blackout.
12th. I mean, this was in the first week of August, probably.
Oh, absolutely.
Of a bill he wrote. He wrote the bill that says you can't accept donations in August.
And of course now he's backpedaling and all the rest. And I was asked on another show. They said, "Well, do you think he should be penalized?" And I said, "Yes. His penalty should be he should have to repeal his idiotic, convoluted law that he passed. But you know what? When you set up laws that make criminals out of honest people who are trying to do the right thing, you've gone off the cliff with your bill. And if they had simply allowed an honest and open debate on the floor of whether a felon deserves to serve in our state Senate, that would have curbed all of it. But instead, they hid that, and by stifling that debate, they've had to go and pass silly laws like this that make everybody look bad, when really there is really not much harm. He had the check for 3 days, returned it once they figured out what it was. But no legislator should be in that light. We should have honest and clear laws that are enforceable. That means you don't stop debate when people ask to expel somebody who's been found guilty of 8 felonies.
Yeah, that was all just CYA. That's all. That's the only reason they did that, and then they didn't even care about it anyway. Joel, we got to run. I apologize, sir, but thank you for coming back on and explaining this more insanity up in Sacramento.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
More insanity up in Sacramento.